Good morning. Good morning, my beautiful friends. This is your wake up call with Maui Paul. I am Maui Paul. We are here today to say some nice things about ourselves as we gather every morning to say nice things about ourselves and ultimately completely take control over our internal narrative. I want to say thank you guys so much for being here. Good morning. It looks like a bunch of people are here. I see Lauren from Daytona Beach. Good morning, Shauna, Janet, Dan. It is wonderful to see you guys here today. Good morning, Jeffrey, as well. Yeah, wonderful to see you guys here today. The question of the day is what went well yesterday? And looks like a whole bunch of folks have some stuff. Lauren says that she completed a 4-mile walk yesterday. That went well. Excellent. As a nice long walk for you. Janet says her yesterday was full of love, support, and laughter. Those are some wonderful things as well. Let's see here. Shauna says, yesterday was great. Sobriety gives me more time to get things done and enjoy the moment. Excellent. And of course, Jeffrey is up cleaning his gutters right now before the rain comes in. I love it. My yesterday went pretty well as well. I had a wonderful day at work. I also had a very productive day. Just kind of like getting some outside work done and just preparing for the changing of the seasons. So I had a really good day yesterday, and I intend to have another one today as we continue to just affirm good things about ourselves. I'm going to start my day off right, and we are all going to start our days off right by I'm going to pull a card off the top of the deck. I'm going to ask you if you are the affirmation on the card, and we are going to respond out loud that we are that affirmation. We're going to affirm that together by saying, I am that affirmation. As we do that, we are building into ourselves. We are we're really giving ourselves more life. So good morning, Amanda. Good to see you here. All right, so let's pull a card and let's say that today I am ready. I am ready. My preparations pave the way. So I am ready. My preparations pave the way. Good morning, Tony. Are you ready? You are ready. Your preparations pave the way. I'm going to write that down in the comments. Amanda's already beat me to it. She's so ready. She's beaten me to writing it down. But I say that I am ready. My preparations pave the way. Awesome. I am ready today. You are ready too. We were born ready for the work that we are called to in any given day. And when I look back at my own life, I think that I've never really felt like I was fully prepared to do any of the big stuff that I did. I just had to get out there and do it. And I recall, well, a long time ago, I owned a big 10-wheel drive military truck. And so I was a member of the Military Vehicle Collectors Club in my area. And the members of this club would sit around at the International House of Pancakes. We'd meet about once a month, and we'd sit around there, and we would talk about just doing long trips with our cool military vehicles. And I remember that one day I just got tired of hearing everybody talk about why they couldn't do it. And my truck was in decent shape, and I was like, what I'm going to do? I'm going to do some basic maintenance on this thing. I mean, it was designed to survive wars, and I'm going to drive it across the country. And that's exactly what I did. And I made myself as ready as I could make myself, by changing the tires and changing the oil and making sure I had nice, have plenty of gasoline or plenty of diesel in the back of the truck as I went to prepare for this cross country trip. And I made the preparations that I thought about how to make. But in the end, the stuff that went wrong wasn't stuff that I had prepared for. It was other eventualities, other things that I didn't expect and didn't really prepare for. And so I still had to be creative when I was on the road in order to get that 13,000-pound vehicle across the country. And in the end, my preparations had paved the way, but my preparations hadn't provided the motivating force. In the same way that the track that stretches out before us in this card is not, it's not empowered because it was built. It's empowered by the runners who run on it. The preparations happen long before the road stretches out before us. And so we are ready. Our preparations pave the way. The things that we're going to do today, that we're called to do today, we're ready for those things. We're ready. And even if they don't turn out the way that we think they should, or that we really want them to, it doesn't matter. What matters is that we are ready for them. And the fact that we are even working on them is evidence that we are ready. Another quick story. So when I first started traveling, I basically sold everything that I owned and moved into a backpack. And when I originally had set this backpack up, I made very careful consideration as to what I thought that I would need as I traveled around the world and lived out of a backpack. And the backpack itself weighed about 32 pounds, and I was prepared for every eventuality that could possibly happen, including a whole bunch of them that were just outlandish. But in my world, prior to actually doing the traveling, I thought that it would be a very real possibility. I figured that I would be in places in the world where I didn't have food, so I would have to have some emergency food. I figured that I'd be in places in the world where I wouldn't have access to toiletries, things of that nature. And as I traveled around, of course, I realized that people be living everywhere. And so, of course, anywhere that you go, as long as, if there's no food there, then the society has bigger problems. Of course, wherever you go, you're going to be able to find that stuff. Well, anyway, after about 7 years of traveling and about 7 years of largely living out of that backpack, I had whittled it down to the things that were actually necessary. And that 32-pound backpack weighed about 12 pounds and was mostly empty. And I remember that close to the end of my trip, I was coming back to the United States. And so I was crossing between the border of, I think it was like Honduras, Nicaragua or something. I don't remember. But anyways, I was crossing a Central American border. And Central American borders are best crossed in a tourist shuttle. It just makes everything a lot easier. And so I booked a tourist shuttle to cross this border, and they came and picked me up. And it was me, and I was a pretty grizzled veteran at that point of traveling. And all of these fresh-faced American tourists, all of whom had that 35-pound backpack or more. A lot of them had a backpack and a front pack for all of their perceived needs that they would have for like a week. And I remember I got on this bus and this one person looked at me and said, "Where are you traveling?" And I said, "Yeah." And she said, "Where is your bag?" And I held it up with one hand. I was like, "Oh, this is my bag." And she's like, "How long are you traveling for?" And I said, "About 7 years." And I think everybody at the bus on the bus, they just kind of looked at me a little bit differently after that, because ultimately in the doing, that's where we discover what is necessary. We discover the necessaries in the doing, not in the preparing, not in the studying for, not in the researching. It is in the doing that we discover what is essential. And so we prepare ourselves, and so we're ready. But we recognize that our preparations might not necessarily be relevant as soon as we get started, and we have to just recognize that and understand that our preparations do indeed pave the way, but they don't run the race for us, and they can't run the race for us. We have to do that ourselves, and when we do, we are going to leave a lot of our preparations right there at the starting line because they were not, as it turns out, necessary. So I am ready today. You are ready. We are ready for whatever life throws us or throws at us today. We are ready to just rock it at life. So I want to say thank you guys so much for being here. I see a whole bunch of other folks have come on to the broadcast. So good morning to let's see here. Good morning. Looks like Maya has joined. Looks like Susan has come on in. It is really good to see you ladies here today. Thank you so much for being here. I will return tomorrow at 9 a.m. with yet another card. And we will go through yet another positive affirmation and really just speak life into ourselves. Until then, just know that you're ready for whatever life has for you today, and that no matter if you've done it before, if you've done it a million times, or if it's something brand new that you're just starting out with doing, that you are ready to handle it, that you are equipped, that you are wiser now than you've ever been, that you're more experienced now than you've ever been, and that you are fully capable of accomplishing everything that you set your mind to. Talk to you guys tomorrow at 9 a.m. Until then, you guys are awesome. I love you. I care about you. I think that you're amazing. And aloha from paradise.